You're listening to Industry Talks on Design in Focus, a new multimedia channel serving CID. CID, Creative, Innovation and Design. Listen to representatives, practitioners and leaders on topics like industry development, skills, methods, movements, tools, concepts, projects, events, and much more. Hi, and welcome to Industry Talks. Today we're extending our KPI series with Ricardo Faria, and we'll be talking about ROKET DS. Hi, Ricardo.
Hey, that's right. We're going to speak about ROKET DS, which is one of the methods is connected with target incentive design. Okay, so for the ones that doesn't know me, I'm making some podcasts in KPIs, which is ROKS, which is results-oriented KPI system, and we are doing a series of methods called KPI series. One of the ones you can see in Design and Focus is KPI trees. Today we're going to go to ROKET DS, and then we're going to go through to target design, incentive design, and we have some interesting methods to see along this KPI series. Okay, so my name is Ricardo. Faria. I will share my screen and let's have some fun and learn something about KPIs. Okay,
Awesome.
so let's do it. So welcome to KPI series. As you see here, we are always running, always learning. So today we're gonna learn about some context about ROKET DS. I will give a snip shot about the process himself, what is the different steps you need to follow and some techniques. And then I will present a case study in the end. So you can understand how actually in practice you can actually see this. But there's always some questions you need to know. First, what is a KPI? What is a target? What is an incentive? So they're all different, but they are all connected. So let's go to see the meaning of each one. What a KPI? As you know, KPI is a key performance indicator. This is a measure of how we're doing at something that we care about. A good example is when you drive a car, your speedometer shows the speed is a KPI. It's something you care and it's something you measure. Incentive. So for each KPI provide a specific objective, a numerical quantification. Can be some type of context of incentives intended to provide a type of behavioral motivation. A good example is, let's say you have an incentive to be either positive, so you buy yourself a new smartwatch and you won't eat 8 kilos. The negative incentive can be, I will put a padlock in the fridge if I hit 85 kilos, or some combination of the two.
Mm-hmm.
When we go to targets, is when we compare KPIs with targets, you start to make some judgments, some value in terms of performance. If you perform well or you perform not so well. One good example is if you are in the bathroom scales and you tell me I weigh 80 kilos, my reaction will be shape my personal targets. I don't want to weigh 80 kilos. So my target will be, I want to go from 80 to, let's say, 70 or less. So let's say my target is 60. So that will be my target. So that my KPI will be the kilos I measure. So then we have basic motivation model. You take your targets, you sum with incentive equals to your motivation. And we came to the ROKET DS. So this is develop effective targets to achieve your goals. A brief summary, this is spread in different parts. You have the target fail. I'm not go through all of these. You can then see after this podcast, you can even come to our design focus page. And if you want to know more in detail, please just drop me a message if you want to learn. Also, I can give a training about that. So just for the podcast purpose, I will just go through what this means in a bigger high level. So you can see here you have different targets, can be designing BSS, lack of pace setting targets. So you have different ones. Then you have the management functions, and here you can have an intensive management pressure. This is actually something that gonna have impact on you, and this can really be negative, and this is why we are called management dysfunctions. Then we have the behavioral dysfunctions symptoms. This is connected with also behaviors. And here you can go to different case studies where, for example, someone try to have a target, but create a corrupted reporting. And here it's already some negative behavior, or can you use or can break in the law. So do something you shouldn't just to achieve a certain target or to give some incentive. So that is an example. Then you have the incentive design failures. Here you can have a no overachievement rewards. You can promise to in your sales team some type of target, but you never or reward, but you never achieve because it's intangible. It's not possible. It's not realistic. So you are giving something that is not possible to achieve. And this is the full diagnostic. As called ROKET DS, you have the full diagnostic here. This is combined in 4 parts. One is the target failures, the other one is the incentive design failures, the other one is the management functions, and the other one is the dysfunctional behavior symptoms, which you can see the arrows. Each one is interconnected, and I will show ahead how this can work. So what is ROKET DS diagnostic? So this can help you first identify problems with your targets and incentives. So second, this can help you to classify some issues and can support the target and incentive design process. This will be crucial tool for black hats testing, which is one of the steps. So how do we use ROKET diagnostic? I'm not going to read all of this, just going to go in through little one. So this is used in 2 situations. One, diagnostic existing target and incentive issues. It's quite common. The target or incentive system that is not performing as expected, we need to fix it. In this situation, we use this to create an accurate diagnosis of the issues before and start to repair the process. Also, you can use as field testing new targets and incentive designs for potential problems. One of the major gaps in the smart method is the lack of real world testing. We don't test, we presume a lot. In step number 7 of the process, we'll cover the test called black hat testing, which you look at potential problems and with a diagnostic can cover some critical parts, which can actually improve your team dynamic and performance. Let's break it down. First, we have the target design canvas, and we have the incentive design canvas. We use these generally to make a workshop with your stakeholders where you go through the targets you define, and then you need to answer these 9 points in each canvas, so you can understand very well how we identify the issues, outcome, match the KPIs you are working, the ownership, etc. So you have these to see more ahead. And this is the target design in overview. So you have 9 steps. Okay, so you have the first step. It's where you have existing targets and issues, and you identify the document or use the document if needed. Then you plan the outcome and identify high-level outcomes. Then you go to your KPI tree, for example, from the previous workshop. You match the KPIs are important to track and achieve your high-level goal. In step number 3, you identify and engage target owners. This came also from the enterprise model. You need to identify and engage your stakeholders. You need to have the buy-in. They need just to go look at your KPIs and work around them. Then you need to check. The fourth is the owner agency. What is this? Is review our KPIs and plan outcomes and check if your target owners have necessary skills, time, and authority and resources. Don't forget that. In number 5, you draft your target values and rules. You need to look at your initial targets you need to look at values. What is the rules you want to define for each one? And also try to create some progressive targets. Look at historic data, create something that can be achievable. In the number 6, you have the white hat test targets. Here, you're gonna create a type of walking through the targets and understand how they expect to work. So you can make a test and you can see how they work. In the 7, black hat test targets, this is more about drafting the targets, but using the reverse brainstorm. So basically what means reverse brainstorming, it's you need to look at each target and you need to think what can actually be wrong. You need to connect the other side of your brain and think what is the possible problems and how from these possible problems, based on that specific target initially, what is the problems and then what is the solutions for each problem. So you can revert and understand what is not is yes possible or not. And then after you identify these issues, then you go and fix the problems and you retest them and just to double check if everything is working well. Well, if you do all of these, you can record and go live. So you can have a clear idea about the targets you want and incentives. I know this is a lot to add in one go, but bear with me. Looks complicated, but everything is connected. Okay, I don't expect in this session everyone come out of this 15, 20 minutes. I will present with everything, but bear in mind this is important. Okay, and this needs really to have a way to do it. As you can see, this is the target design canvas I showed before. This is how can be filled in. I will show an example to identify possible issues, for example, or side effects or symptoms and problems. You can have here this is from a customer service. The current targets here, it's average handling time. They want 15 calls per hour, and the agents get 30% bonus if they exceeded their targets. The issues, this can create misdirect calls and resolve customer issues just to make the 15 calls, complaints from customers. So this can generate agents' frustration at the job badly done. So that can create different friction. And then you can have here the KPIs you want to work, the type of plan. You always have a description and also you have an example later if you want to take a look. In terms of incentive design, this is continuation, simple, and not go too long, but then again, you need to draft values and rules. In the 11, you need to white hat your test incentives again. Then you need to also black hat your incentives. And finally, you fix, retest, record, and go live. It's always, as you see, always the same process.
Yeah.
And this is the full process. I will not go one by one because I already give the explanation before, but bear in mind, you start here, you need to always understand whether is the plan, understand your KPIs before, make the engagement with your user, identify everyone is involved, check the agency ownership, and just go through these, okay? Just draft values, never forget these two, white hat and black, test, fix the problems, record, and then go from target to incentive, okay? Then from incentive, look again to the values, make the test again, and then after you fix your problems, you finally go record live. So in that case, if you look at the process, you're gonna do all the process, you're gonna make twice the test, you're gonna look at the values and rules, you're gonna fix the problems twice, you're gonna look at the reverse brainstorming, you're gonna thinking about everything. So the chances of you go to step number 14 and things are actually matching and working, it's higher than you actually doing these without all of these steps. Again, I told in the beginning, it's not easy. It's a process, but if you do this properly, you're gonna see the results in the end. Okay.
Yeah. And also, once you've done it, it gets easier to do it. So if you use this method frequently, it will become
Exactly.
natural and it will become easy, and the value will just
Yeah.
be that much greater, right?
Exactly, exactly. Because then you're gonna, for example, in the step number 2, if you do KPI trees before, you're gonna have a methods. You're gonna have
Mm-hmm.
a technique you can revisit and you can reuse. The
Mm-hmm.
same thing when you start to work around drafting of values and rules. You can have a set of values and rules you use for your specific case and other cases. You start to build your own library. And obviously then can come to the tests, you know how to do the test will be, I don't say automated, but you know. So you're gonna do
Mm-hmm.
that in a, and it's a question of templates that can help you. You don't do this from scratch. It's from the rocks technique, the results oriented KPI system. It's a lot of methods. The founder of this, Bernie Smith, it's an excellent guy. Just give me this knowledge. It's thousands and thousands of templates, and this looks more difficult than it is. It's just practice, like you said, Candice.
Yeah.
Great. Um, to go through a case study. So the case study I will show today is about Mutual Fund Madness. Is a company. So basically, what is this? Actual mutual funds are financial products where investors give their cash to refund to funds manager, uh, who then actively manages a portfolio of investments on the investor behalf. Someone is managing your assets. The idea in this kind of management, in expert hands, can outperform more pedestrian forms of investment management, create a healthy return for the investment, a well-paid job for the fund manager. But if the data provides includes the performance of closed funds, the percentage of funds beating their benchmark shots up 43%, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget, these effects hiding your failures. It's called survival biases and create a very distorted view of performance. So you don't
Mm-hmm.
see everything happen. You just see what is in the surface.
Yeah.
And in the surface, we call the behavior that creates the survival bias is the user input misclassification. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
in this case study, we're going to look, someone is managing your funds. What can be looking at these targets and incentive approach from the ROKET DS. What is the issues based on that diagnosis I showed you before? We can identify,
Mm-hmm.
and from the study issues, and we can see some issues and failure types. The first one, the funds use survival biases to very bad performances, and here we go through the design input biases. So this is from one of the points I showed before from the ROKET DS. Then
Mm-hmm.
there is a powerful relationship between strong report historic fund performance and attracting new customers. This is called the extreme reward or punishments. I give always the type of the reference EF02. This is related with the diagnosis. But if is a powerful relationship between strong report historic fund and performance and attracting customers, this is really extreme rewards. And if you don't do it, you can have a punishment. And this is not
Mm-hmm.
ethical correct. So this comes as an issue. Then
Yeah.
if a fund buyer expect future performance in a line with report historic performance, they could be in for a nasty surprise. This is unexpected adverse outcomes. So it's something you're not expected, but this can jump on. Then the lack of regulation, how to report historic performance demonstrates. So is no regulation here. It's pure sales environment and there's no one to control the how we do it. It's a weak enforcement and also incomplete rule definition. So it's something we are pushing without regulation, and result of that as incomplete rule definition.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that is the end. I know this looks a little bit, I don't say empty, but a little bit what this technique shows.
Yeah.
You can see better when you have a sales team and you want, as a manager, for example, you want to set up the incentives and targets for your team. You can use this to help you, for example.
Hmm. Do you maybe have a very small example by any chance? So like of
Um,
how to apply this to a project, a very small project.
um, yes. Actually, in previous projects I work with, when I managed my team, um, we have some targets
Hmm.
as consultant. We have some targets for the specific client we are working on, and we create a scheme of work. But as the team I was managing, we need to create a type of what is our target we want for the next 6 months or 1 year. And based on that, I look with my other leads, and we look at our team. Our team was 5 to 6 people, and we start to look at their profile and start to understand, okay, what is the targets based on the level they have of expertise, what is the set that we want to give to them, so this can match with client aspect for as the final deliverables. And here we look at different things in terms of um, leadership, what was working, what is dysfunctional or not. In terms of behavior, are we following all the regulations and we are following all the steps we should as a team, what they expect. So let's go to these 4 different parts of the diagnosis, and then we spotted some inconsistencies from the way we managed, the way we want them to achieve their goals, and we correct that with some types of tests. We did these 14 steps, and we spot with add test and black test some discrepancies, so we correct them, and in the end we have a document specifically for each one with,
Yeah.
okay, this is your target you need to achieve, this is the percentage you need to achieve based on quality of project or delivery you need to do, because each person has, in a, let's say, in a 6 months, 1 year, we have a goal. This is the goal you need to achieve as a team. Your parts from that goal will be these specific parts, and this is how much we want you to achieve. And this is the percentage, put this in numbers, we want you to try to reach. And if you do it, you can have this incentive. This is
Hmm.
your target. And then we think as with the leadership, what is the other part of, as you say, using the reverse brainstorming, what is the other sides of actual problems can happen. And this was an
Hmm.
interesting exercise, because we thought almost 1 year ahead. We didn't preview the future, obviously, but based on the information we had, it was quite interesting because we can actually um, align
Yeah.
the exactly the team capabilities with the client objectives, plus what the organization wants to achieve to provide the client what they want. And this was quite useful.
Yeah. It's you're a designer independently, but for projects you do require multiple stakeholders, and this is a prime example of showing just how you do need the whole team, or at least multiple stakeholders to
Yep.
create something
Yep.
better, right?
That's right. And we always we had to biased.
Mm-hmm.
We if someone asks, do you are doing a good job, your answer will be yes, I'm doing. But if you actually go a little bit deeper, you probably are not doing 100% what you should do. I know sometimes I don't
Mm-hmm.
do it. The thing is, you need to be aware where the problem is, or where the discrepancy, where you are not doing so well.
Mm-hmm.
This is quite healthy to do this type of criticism. And I know in some cultures this is not welcome so much. Some cultures this is a gift,
Yeah.
especially in Netherlands. We take this as a gift, and the
Mm-hmm.
team will not be easy to do this. I need to aware you guys, because if you go to a multicultural team and you try to do this, you have 2 things can happen to you. One is the pressure. They're gonna feel pressured because you have put them with a target, you have put them with incentive. But to be smart the way you do things, this is the trick. Because if you know how they psychology they work, if you study the culture where they come, and if you set up a realistic that targets, you're
Yeah.
gonna make them feel relaxed so they can actually perform well. And in the middle of the way, as a manager or as a team player, you're always there to help them. So
Yeah.
don't come to the mistake to, because you really feel this is possible. Start small, finish with a big achievement. It's better to start with a small target and then increase slightly than put a target super big than the team can't achieve. So that
Yeah.
is the trick. Yeah.
I had a conversation a few days ago, and the what I came up with, and my thought is that a focus creates ignorance, right? So if you've got a target and you want to reach the target, you've got to ignore a lot. And this is also a mechanism that's trained to us from school, like don't be distracted, focus on the ball. And while there are good reasons to have that sort of mentality, it does also have some negatives. So, ignorance is part of life. We can't avoid it, especially when we're focused on something, ironically. But yeah, I think that sort of aligns to what you're saying in some way, right?
No, definitely. I have multiple cases. You, for example, work in a customer center. You are taking calls, and you need to make close sales in 20 calls, and you are pressured to do that. So if you have some system that tracks if you are doing this based on if you are doing the right regulation and you are doing things without breaking the law and you are doing correctly, if you have this, you always spot one or two people when try to do it. It's quite human, it's normal. And same thing applies to the normal team in different projects. There's always some gap. If you keep these tracked and you have a type of ROKET DS diagnostic to measure the target and see if people are going the right time, you can just keep the team healthy. And here is no point fingers to anyone. It's just and this applies to the both sides. Can be a manager try to not be ethical correct. It's making huge pressure to the person is working. And if you have this in place, the person can speak out. This can also be a way to relieve a little bit of tension. Also, that in same time can also keep the manager or the leadership to go to the right direction instead of going to the wrong direction. This is why you come to manage its functions, and you can play a little bit with the behavioral parts. And in that sense, you can make that model I spoke before, target incentive equals to motivation. So you keep motivation high in the same time in effective way. So it's always good time to do this type of thing. This model doesn't work for all projects, I know. Generally, this works well for sales because sales is quite oriented in results. But if you look this, you can be innovative. You can use this in different contexts. Yeah,
We're sort of running out of time, but could you briefly talk about the value in design of using these methods?
definitely. In design, when we look at different designs approaches or double diamonds or other user-centric approach, it's always good to have in mind that if you use this type of methods, you can balance the business approach with a user-centered approach. And here you can definitely understand your clients. You can look at them in terms of what is the targets they want, what is the KPIs. That release you a lot of pressure in terms of business pressure. You can concentrate then in your other part of design, which is research, understand the user, put everything into context, understand their motivations and goals. And because it did work before and use this type of methods, it will be easier for you to match the goals from the user with the goals of the business. So I see the value of this is really that is just retire that pressure from the business. You always gonna have, but if you do the work this way, you're gonna be much more relaxed to the other part of the design process. So I mean, one complements the other, but don't jump steps, because if you jump too much to design, the business is gonna ask you, but you are not understanders, guys.
Yeah.
So where is the value for us? So you answer that question if you do this.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Ricardo, and thank you for taking your time to present for us today. And we'll be recording our next session in a week or two. And well, that was that. For those listening, thank you for listening, and we hope to see you again. Bye.
Exactly. Bye. Thank you.
If you've enjoyed listening to this session, please subscribe to us and follow us on social media. Visit designinfocus.org for more information and content. Design in Focus is a labor of love and can use any and all support. If you'd like to help keep us alive, please consider making a small donation.